Hey, I'm Eugene Sakai with Studio S Squared Architecture, and here again with me is our lovely interior design director, Sierra Schmidt.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about our furniture and decor specification service. Sierra, can you please explain the difference between interior architecture and furniture and decor?
So I think, Eugene, you've probably heard me say this a few times that design is in layers. And
Yeah.
and so the interior architecture is a lot of the harder surfaces. So we're specifying tile, we're working on cabinetry elements, we're putting in plumbing fixtures and appliances. It's more of that sort of hard surface shell of the house. And shell I don't want to use too strongly, but it's really not that soft element. And so when you talk about furniture and decor, that is another layer on top of that interior architecture layer that we've been working on together. And that
Mhm.
is more of the softer elements. So,
Mhm.
sofas, drapery, pillows, artwork, sculptures. It's the added layer on top of that sort of beautiful shell of a home that you're creating.
I think another way to look at it, what I often tell clients when they ask, is that the interior architecture is everything that your general contractor or builder will be installing. Things like all the things you just mentioned, your
Yeah.
fixture, your finishes, your furniture and decor are things that can be moved into the house.
Yes, exactly.
So you've talked about the concept of layering, which is a really intriguing one, and you mentioned how the interior architecture is really one of those initial layers
Mhm.
in the success of a whole space. So how does the furniture and decor layer complement the interior architecture layer to create that holistic vision?
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on holistic vision because in phase two, where we start working on the interior architectural aspects of the house, we are keeping that holistic vision driving in the right direction. And that's really kind of our job is our clients pick what they like, they gravitate towards certain things, but we're making sure that we're sort of driving that ship in the overall holistic direction that we care so much about in this office.
Hmm.
And furniture is another element to that. Decor is another element to that. If you walk into a house, and maybe you've walked into a house before where the interior architecture was great, but the furniture was kind of just chosen haphazardly or at random, or, over time you bought certain pieces, you notice that. And that can
Yeah.
almost kill the beautiful work that's happened around you on the interior architecture. And
Hmm.
so when you thoughtfully choose those pieces and when you thoughtfully create a full holistic package for that, it really will just amplify all of the other work that our office has done before and really tie all of that together.
Yeah, I love that answer. As you were speaking, I was chuckling to myself, thinking back about many projects we've done where we were not involved in the furniture and decor service, where we wish that we had actually taken the photographs of the home prior to the clients
Before,
moving in,
you know.
and not through any fault of their own. It's just there's an opportunity missed when all of that is not thought through holistically.
Yeah.
And when the furniture and decor were not chosen with an idea of the overall vision in mind, it can really show up. It can really detract from the overall experience of living in and experiencing that home.
Yes. And I would say too that when you are working with your contractor on everything that, our office has created for you, there's hundreds of orders and coordinations, and it's a very complicated process. And I think everyone has a really good understanding of construction being a complex process. With
Hmm.
furniture and decor, a lot of clients view it as, oh, I'll just buy a package from Restoration Hardware. Oh, I can do this. I'll just source a couple of things from different places. And I know firsthand, and my team knows firsthand, how much coordination and thought is involved with that. And it's a far more complicated process to get it right, I would say.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think there's a tendency both in architecture and in interior design and decoration when you're specifying things to try to sole source from a
Mhm.
certain vendor because there's decision fatigue. It's like, well, this one particular showroom is offering the whole suite of things and I can just buy everything from there. And we've seen that on projects, and you can easily identify the projects that were curated that way
Hmm.
without an attempt to take advantage of the whole richness of everything that's out there.
Yeah.
And I think at a certain point, decision fatigue comes in, and you say, I'm just going to buy everything from one place. And then that actually detracts from the overall experience because there's a homogeneity to the end
Hmm.
result there.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree.
So when in your mind is the best time for a client to start thinking about the furniture and decor?
In a dream world, as soon as possible. I mean, I think that we try as the interior design team for the interior architectural aspect of the project to really think about what type of furniture pieces would be needed in certain spaces.
Mhm.
But everybody has different requirements, and not everyone is thinking about all of those pieces that they will eventually think about towards the end of construction being in those rooms. And so if we're working on furniture, during phase 2, we can make sure that the floor plan and that the design allows for certain pieces to make it into the overall project. And so I think it's never too early to start, honestly.
I know there's many discussion within our office between our interior designers and our architects about furniture layout and the pieces that a client wants to achieve the functionality that they're going for. And sometimes that dictates architectural moves too. The
Mhm.
size of a room, the location of windows and doors in that room,
Yes.
all of that is directly impacted by furniture.
Yes. 100%.
One of the more intriguing aspects, I think, of our furniture and decor service is when the decision is made to go with a custom furniture piece as opposed to something that you can buy from a retailer. So tell me a little bit about that decision, about when a custom piece becomes more appropriate than something you can just purchase ready-made.
Yes, that's a really good question. It varies from project to project, I would say, but a good example I can use on a recent project that we worked on was in the client's master bedroom. They wanted their young son to be able to sleep with them every night, but their bedroom wasn't big enough to have an additional toddler bed in it, because we started working on furniture during construction. And so what we came up with was a awesome custom bed that not only was aesthetically beautiful and had the same language that we were using throughout the interior architecture of the home, but we also fully customized it to have a trundle toddler bed that could pull out for their young son that could be pushed in each morning. And you would not even know that that trundle existed because we worked so tirelessly on the details with the cabinet maker, and it turned out beautiful. So it sort of depends on client needs or the space we have to work with. Sometimes we see elements that we can include that are more custom during phase 2, and we'll design them in then with the hopes that down the road clients will sign us on for furniture or want to proceed with that custom element. So kind of varies.
That makes sense. So you and I have also talked about the relationship between furniture and lighting, and I know that a lot of times when we've been specifying furniture for a client, it impacts the lighting choice that might have been made earlier. Could you explain more about that relationship between furniture and lighting?
Yes. So again, it's kind of the layers, right? And when we are selecting lighting during phase 5 or pre-construction, we have a certain knowledge base with our client's aesthetic, with the project direction. And so we select really nice light fixtures during that time. And a lot of the time they work really well. But we prefer to revisit those selections when we start layering in furniture and decor selections, because sometimes they don't fully tie in as well anymore. When you're adding that other layer of furniture and decor, sometimes you need to take it down a notch with the light fixture selection, or you need to amp it up and select one that has a lot more detail to it. Sometimes,
Mhm.
that light fixture just doesn't work well with that rug we selected. It can be a very subtle reason, but we really like to revisit those and talk about those selections in combination with the furniture to make sure that, again, everything is looking unified and that we're holding to our holistic approach.
That's a great answer. That ties in one of the earlier points we were making about the relationship between interior architecture, the
Mhm.
things that are being installed by the GC, and the furniture and decor piece as well.
Yeah.
Does our team also get into the selection of outdoor furniture?
Absolutely. We select outdoor furniture for pretty much all of our projects. And, sometimes it's a dining set, sometimes it's, an outdoor living area. And we work with what's either going to be built on site or we'll coordinate with the landscape designer if needed. But we do that on all of our projects.
I know a big part of what the furniture service includes is logistics,
Mm.
placing orders, following up on orders. We pay for those orders up front so the client's not writing checks for every single little thing. Maybe talk a little bit about how your team handles that.
Yes. So there's a lot of coordination involved. You mentioned earlier, Eugene, that we're ordering furniture pieces from many different vendors to give you that layered custom look so that you don't walk into a room and go, oh, all of this is from Pottery Barn. And we also work with our trade vendors that don't sell retail. So you're adding in that special element as well. But we coordinate on placing those orders. Like you said, we pay for those up front and invoice at the end of the month. We track those orders. So that is keeping up with status updates for you as the client. So we send bi-weekly updates to our clients to report to them on current ETAs, because as we know in our current climate during this pandemic, that shipping delays have been um, very it's been a problem for us. And so we're also trying to place those orders sooner rather than later. We know those long lead items typically. But we're not having those hundreds of items shipped to your house or to the construction site either. That would be incredibly stressful. We're having all of those items shipped to what we call a receiver. And that receiver will intake all of those items because they all ship at different times. And they hold all of them for us until we have what we call an install day or a move-in day. And that's the receiver then will bring all of those items at one time. They'll unbox them for us. We tell them where to place it. And that really kind of streamlines the move-in day for clients, I would say. So there's a lot of coordination involved, not only with placing those orders and tracking them, but coordinating with our receiver and any other trades needed to install those items.
It's great. And that brings me to kind of the payoff of this whole effort, which is that move-in day.
Yeah.
So I know we've done a few of these now. So what are those like?
They're a lot of fun. I would say they're always a little bit chaotic for me and my team, but they're really fun because you get to see that vision come together. And I think the best thing for clients is they don't have to deal with unboxing things, hiring someone to put it together, hiring someone to hang that piece of art. We spend, between 1 and 3 days making that magic happen so that when you walk through the door, I hate referring to HGTV, but it feels very like grand reveal on HGTV, where you get to walk in and see these items just in their place, the way you pictured them, and you don't have to deal with the mess. It's an awesome experience to watch clients walk in and get super excited about that kind of finished result.
Fantastic. I think at some point we will have a video about a typical move-in day,
Yeah.
and it'll be a good companion to this.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for that overview of our furniture and decor service. It's a very exciting complement to our other services, but I think one that was somewhat overdue in bringing to the forefront of what we offer. And thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.